During the early 2000s, the digital camera boom was in its infancy. While big manufacturers catered to pros and prosumers, lesser-known companies catered to consumers. Aiptek was one of them, and one of their inexpensive offerings was the DV3200 Plus. Extremely small and compact, the lightweight DV3200 Plus was meant to go just about anywhere. Handling the camera caused no strain, and the quarter 20 nut on the bottom allowed it to fit onto just about any tripod. At about $99 to $120 new, the DV3200 Plus featured a 3.2 megapixel CMOS sensor, which performs nicely in daylight, but suffers greatly in low light. Low light photos come out extremely noisy, so much so that you will not want to put it on display. The same can be said about video quality. The DV3200 Plus can shoot QVGA video, that's 320 by 240 at 10 frames per second, which makes it barely watchable. Add the low bitrate encoding on top of that, and it's a recipe for disaster. The file may claim that it encodes at 1.5 megabits per second, but the video quality looks more like half of that value. Throw in the DV3200's microphone and it completes the trifecta of terrible. It records in mono with a sampling rate of only 8 kHz, less than 5 times the sampling rate of CD quality audio. In loud places, the highs and mid-tones get blown out and the lows are barely audible. If you stand in the back of an arena at a concert and far away from the stage and speakers, the audio is surprisingly good. For a cheap camera, you do get a color LCD screen. When it is attached to a port sensor on the camera, colors may look washed, but at least you get an accurate depiction of what the photo or video may look like. The DV3200 Plus comes with 32 megabytes of built-in memory, and like professional DSLRs of its day, the DV3200 Plus used compact flash memory up to 512 megabytes for external storage. At the time, 512 megabytes on a small camera may sound ridiculous, but when the camera's batteries die, the built-in memory gets erased, and one would wish that they did pony up the extra cash for the compact flash card. As far as durability goes, the images speak for themselves. Over the years, I've taken thousands of photos with this camera, and during that time, I've abused it beyond reason. I've dropped it many times, scratched it against surfaces, taken it apart more times than not, and used super glue and epoxy on it in poor attempts to make repairs. The original plastic quarter 20 nut has long broken, but I did replace it with a flat metal quarter 20 nut. Its product logo, as well as the tiny notch that turns off the LCD when closed, are long gone. There is a noticeable dent on the focus ring, which was no fault of mine, and when I upgraded the firmware, the sound it made in the menu was so annoying that I removed the speaker for good. Despite all of these abuses, the DV3200 Plus remains functional to this day. There are no cracks, there are no chips, just missing screws from my attempts to fix it. Although it fails on many levels, the DV3200 Plus worked to capture memories on many levels. This camera was my constant companion in times of thick and thin. It helped me remember stuff that I thought was important to me, but eventually I wanted more out of photography, which led me to move on and shelve this camera for good.